Good evening. My name is Faith Bratton, and we're going to do the Module 5 exam. Okay, we're going to start with number 2, and we're going to be using the X and Y and try to find scenarios. Okay, so on a graph, we want to show how to draw 4 different scenarios. To find out how to draw these, we need to remember rise over run, okay, and Y equals mx plus b. In the first 2 examples, X is used for a placeholder in rise over run. Given no starting point, we will use 0. The examples are not exact. Okay, so we'll start with number 1. It says y equals x over 2. Okay, so we know that we have a positive slope because there's no negatives, and we have a positive line. So we'll use a positive line. It has to go through 0, which is the vertex, since it's our starting point. So that is the example of what it would be for the equation y equals x over 2. Okay, so the next one is y equals negative x over 2. So we know since this one's negative, the slope will go down. It'll be the opposite of the positive one. So we'll use the negative line going through 0 as our vertex. Okay, for 3, we got x equals 10, or y equals 10x. So we have 10 and we have x. 10 will be where we start on the y-axis, and we'll continue with our positive line going through that point, also because there's no negative, so we'll know it's positive. For number 4, it's y equals x squared. On a graph, when x is squared, it always has a parabola. We'll draw a parabola. Oh my gosh, I can't even say it. Going with the vertex 0, pointing up because it's positive. For number 3, it is telling us that what percentage and fraction of these figures is red. Okay, the shaded areas is what is red. Right now it's black. Okay, so we will start by noticing that half the triangle is colored in. We split each triangle in half, giving us 8 total. So right now we have 4, but if you split each in half, it'll come out to be 8. Okay, so with 1 being colored in, we know that the equation will be 1 over 8. In the fraction, if you divide 1 divided by 8, you will get 12.5%, which is showing us the fraction, which would be 1 over 8, and the percentage, which would be 12.5%, is colored in. You do the same thing for the next figure. Okay, so you imagine that each of these squares is split in half, giving us 18. Because right now we have 9. Okay, so if you split each in half, you will have 18. With the 7 of the 18 being covered in, if you split them in half, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 over 18, then divide 7 divided by 18, you get 38.9%. So that's showing on your fraction and your percentage. Okay, for the next one, with this circle, the circle is not being drawn. I did not draw the circle. For this circle, you know that the whole circle is 100%. Well, you see the only half of it is colored in, knowing that half of it would be 50. So 100 divided by 2 is 50%, or 1/2. For number 4, the question is, if the area of the yellow hexagon is a whole, then the remaining pattern blocks have areas that are approximately 16.67%, 19.2%, 33.3%, 38.5%, and 50%. So we have to figure out which ones go with which. Okay, so the area of the hexagon is a whole. The remaining area is left, which is 16.67, or 1 over 6 for the triangle. See, this one would be 50% because half of it, a trapezoid only covers half of it. So it's 50%, or 1/2. The triangle, as we just talked about, is 16.67, or 1 over 6, because you would need 6 triangles, but right now we only have 1, so it'd be 1 over 6. Okay, for the tan rhombus, which would be this one, is 19.2 with some being left over. And how you pretty much find the square in the tan rhombus is because you just do the elimination process. You do the other ones first, and you come down to the ones that are last, and you know that the square is 38.5. Well, you know a square is bigger than the tan rhombus because they're smaller. So you know that 38.5 would go with the square, and 19.2 would go with the tan rhombus. The blue rhombus is 33.3, or 1/3, as shown right here. Okay, so with number 5, it talks about There are 3 common types of percentage problems. Okay, we're designing a classroom poster that gives us a realistic problem and its solutions for each type of the percentage problems. Okay, so the first one, we're going to know that it says, given A and B, what percentage or what percent P of B is A? So we're going to just make an equation. Okay, so Abby has 4 boxes of cereal. She gives Johnny 2 boxes. What percentage of Abby's raisins were given to Johnny? So we start out, we know that if we have 4 boxes right here, and she gives Johnny 2 of them, we can solve this problem by dividing 2 over 4. You know that you'll get 50%. Because 4 take away 2, 50%. Just like if you had 2, you take away 1, that's 50%. Okay, so, but what if Abby has 4 boxes and gives Johnny 25% of the cereal? How many boxes of cereal is Johnny asking for? Okay, so she has 4 boxes. Just think of it like as a quarter, or a dollar bill. You have 4 quarters makes up $1. Okay, so 1 is 25, 2 is 50, 3 is 75, 4 is $1. Okay, so it's just like this. So we have 4 boxes of cereal. If you take 1 away, how much is that? 25%. If you took 2, it'd be 50, 3 is 75. Right now, we're just asking for 1, so how much is 1 of these? It would be 25%. If Abby gives 75% of her cereal to Johnny, then Johnny received 3 boxes of cereal. How many boxes of cereal did Abby start with? Okay, so she's already given him 3. How many did she have before? She had 4, just like the previous problem before. So 3 equals 75% of 4, as then we just showed with like a dollar bill. You have 4 quarters equal $1, each 25, 50, 75, 100. So she started with 4 boxes. Okay, that's all I have. So I hope you've enjoyed my last presentation in Math for Teachers 1 of Module 5 exam. My name is Faith Bratton, and I'll see you soon.